Yurt, what to do, everybody? As he hunch on the billing, and we back. Or actually, we here for the very first time on SDG Sunday, and welcome. Thank you. I was gonna say if you're new here, but we're all new to this. Welcome to SDG Sunday, my very first episode. Where pretty simple. SDG just means Soli for the Glory, which is taken from Soli Deo Gloria, which is a Latin term from like the 1600s, which all it means is glory to God alone. And that's what my YouTube channel is. So every Sunday we're going to come here, the Lord's Day, baby, the day that the Lord resurrected, the day that we got church, and some Christians have adopted as their new Sabbath. But this is the day where we just get to talk about real life, we talk about faith, and we get to, most importantly, give glory to God. So every episode is going to be kind of vlog style. It's going to be a lot like how my old style before I was gaming really was, where I'm just like doing life, showing y'all clips of my day-to-day, whatever I've been doing. And I'm going to share with y'all a little bit of the stuff of the week. And of course, I'm going to end with a message, a devotional type of thing, something that I've been thinking about either through my week. Maybe it might be a more theme. I might even do like series where I go like 3 Sundays in a row talking about a specific topic or something like that, or going through a book in the Bible. Who knows? But no matter what, I only fail if I'm not giving glory to God. But that's what we're going to do today. So thanks so much for coming. And let me just get into it. So this Sunday, I'm going to talk about kind of last week and this week. Last week, it was really cool. It was kind of chill week. Most of my weeks are pretty chill. And if you don't know, I work in ministry. I work with a ministry called Young Life. But last week, we had Wildlife Club, which is the middle school one. And so like we had club. I got to share about how Jesus slept on the storm and invite them into seeking Jesus's peace in everything that they do. Not that the storms will all end, but that they would just be able to endure those things by seeking the peace that Jesus gives. I went to a Kraken game. It was super fun. The Kraken won. My first hockey game, I was one of like 3 black people in that piece. But I still got buck. I still got hype. You know, I could watch some hockey. It was super fun. And then over the weekend, I went to Salem, Oregon. I was going to a wedding up in Portland, but I got some friends in Salem, the Cherry City. Shout out Cherry City Worship. Those are my dogs. The Cherry City. And I was chilling with some people that I've known for a while. And it was just a classic POC weekend, bro. We were just playing 2K, talking trash. We even went out and played basketball with each other, but just talking trash, telling stories and stuff like that, catching up on like the layer, like what's been going on with other people and stuff like that. So it was all around, it was cool. I felt like a 16-year-old, again, chilling with my homies at their crib, playing 2K. We watched some football and stuff too, so it was nice. I ended up going to church the next Sunday, and something really cool happened. When we went there, they were doing baby dedications. And if you're not familiar with church or like baby dedications, pretty much people will take their child up to the church, at least how I've seen it, and the pastor will like pray over those children and dedicate them to the Lord. It's beautiful. It's really adorable. It's cute. I had this moment where I thought, oh man, that's kind of funny. I've never been dedicated as a child. Well, whatever. Like, wasn't hurt or sad by it, but just the reality. Like, I wasn't born Christian. I didn't grow up Christian. I became Christian at 16 years old. So, like, my whole life, I was never dedicated as a baby. I was like, whatever. I'm dedicated now, and like, I've dedicated my own life to the Lord. I'll dedicate my kids, like, whatever. Sit down, move on. Then like we do like, you know, the classic, hey, turn to your neighbor. I meet this couple, elderly couple, probably like in their 60s or 70s, named Mark and Linnea. Really sweet, classic, cliche, like old people at church. They're very kind. And then church happens. The pastor speaks on Ephesians chapter 5. It's wonderful. I loved it. We worship again. Like, I just worshiped feeling so free and authentic, and it was great. After the sermon, Linnea comes up to me and she says, hey, I just feel like the Lord has something he wants to say to you, but I have to go and pray right now. Would you be willing to stay while I like do some praying over these people? She's part of the prayer team. Of course. Like, me, how long do you want me to wait? Like, waiting to hear from the Lord? Of course. Yeah, like, go ahead. She goes and she prays over her people. I chill for a little bit. Talk to LJ and Lance. and basically about how trash they are at 2K and how I'm the best, and just doing all that talking trash and stuff and whatever. And then she finishes up praying. They bring me back over and they're like, okay, Azzy, like, are you a believer in Jesus? And I was like, yes, I am. And she goes, were you ever dedicated as a child? And I go, no, I wasn't actually. That's crazy you say that, because I was just thinking that I've never been dedicated and how like sad that was. And she goes, okay, well, this is our moment. We're going to dedicate you to the Lord right now. I just felt like the Lord wanted me to do that. And that's bizarre, because as we're sitting watching the babies get dedicated, the Lord's talking to her about, yo, you should dedicate this dude. I don't know exactly what he said to her, but this is the Lord speaking in Azzy language. Yo, you should dedicate this dude sitting in front of you. And the Lord talking to me, yo, isn't it crazy that like you've never been dedicated before? Like, what do you think about that? Like, so it's just so bizarre, like how the Lord does what he does. So yeah, then I ended up getting dedicated. They prayed over me. They prophesied. They said some really sweet stuff that like I'm going to keep between me and the Lord, but just like about my future and about who I am and stuff like that, which was awesome. And yeah, so that was just amazing. It was a really fun weekend. And overall, more than that, it was just fun to be in Salem, to be in that church with old people, young people, like seeing a multiple generational church. And honestly, I was really encouraged here in Seattle. Like, there's not a lot of churches that are like thriving or doing well, especially post COVID. And so it was nice to see a church like just like a classic kind of old school church. You took a picture of that room, you would believe it was like the 1980s, 1990s, like just some classic good old fashioned church. We went and got food after. I didn't stay because I had to hit the road to go to the wedding. But yeah, so it was great. Ended up in Portland, went to a wedding. It was kind of a reunion of stores, like a bunch of my like friends from when I interned at Washington Family Ranch, a Young Life camp in Oregon. They were all there. It was awesome to see a good friend of mine I've known for 5 years now get married. And yeah, her husband was looking fresh in this all white outfit. But I was listening to a song. It's called Painting Pictures. Yes, it's a secular rap song. Oh, I know. Yeah, sue me, whatever. If you want to hate on me for that, screw you, because the Devo comes from this. I was listening to Painting Pictures, and there's this part.
You live by the gun, you gonna die by the gun.
You live by the gun, you gonna die by the gun. And I was thinking about that today. I heard it, like, dang, he's referencing Jesus. Like, whether he knows it or not, like, that is what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 26. So after Peter cuts off this dude's ear, he cuts off one of the soldiers' ears. And then Jesus says, put your sword back in its place, for all who draw the sword will die by the sword. And then he goes on to say, bro, I got angels who could pull up at any moment and clap you. That's the Azzy translation. But speaking of translations, the translation that is more popular, more common, you might have heard is, for those who live by the sword will die by the sword. And so I was hearing that, and I was like, man, you live by the gun, you're going to die by the gun. You live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. This dude is referencing Jesus, which one goes to show that like you can't go far from hearing Jesus' teachings or whatever. It's in everything that Jesus says and does is it influences the world. Why? Because it's his, of course. But even bigger than that, the thing that I was thinking about was, man, like the truth of that quote like goes so much more than just physical. Yes, if you live by the sword, if you're always going to battle with the sword, you probably will die by the sword. You will die in battle by a sword. You live by the gun, you live in the gun violence and shooting and all that stuff, you probably will die by gun violence. Like, that's just how it is, because you're in it so much. But I started to think that's true for everything negative that we choose to live by. Those things inevitably will kill us, right? You live by the gun, you're gonna die by the gun. You live by the sword, you're gonna die by the sword. And when I say these other negative things, they're not even all physical. And I know this is kind of grim talking about living in death, but that's just the reality of the world. When you think about like these negative things, sinful things, but these things that we incorporate in our minds and allow to dwell in our hearts and in our souls, those things influence us and lead us to death in those areas, right? You live by pride. Your pride will ultimately kill you. You live by lust. Oh my gosh, the stories that I've heard. I just heard my friend texted me in a group chat, And he said he knows somebody whose relationship ended because he couldn't stop watching pornography. And it started to lead to him becoming a liar, to him being abusive, and to becoming manipulative, and to him being so sex crazed and so addicted to sex that he actually didn't have any love for his wife. Rather, it's a transactional relationship. He only wanted sex from her. That's awful. That killed a relationship. That killed his marriage. Right? You live by ego. Your ego will eventually come crumbling down. You will find too much life in your identity. You live by any of these things. Bitterness. Oh my goodness. You live by bitterness. Ultimately, that bitterness will haunt you. I always tell people forgiveness isn't about, and wow, this is speaking to my season currently, but forgiveness isn't about letting the other person get off. It's about freeing your mind, freeing your heart, because that bitterness will eat at you. It will control you. And it won't give you true peace. So you live by any of those negative things, you will die by those things. Those things will inevitably be the thing that kills you. If you live by the gun, you're gonna die by the gun. Don't live by the gun. Live by the Lord. Live by peace. If you live by the Lord and you die by the Lord, that's a great way to go out. Keep it a buck. So, hey, thanks so much for listening. Chop it up. Share me your thoughts. I love when y'all comment. I want to build a community. I don't know what I want to call it yet, but I want to build a little community. How do we make this a family more than just me talking to you? Talk back to me. Let me get some responses in here. Live by the gun, you're gonna die by the gun. Comment, share what you think about that. Like this video. Most importantly, subscribe. I'm trying to build a community. I'm trying to build a family, a kingdom type family. And I want to keep doing this, and it's supporting my dream. So thanks so much for watching this video. This was SDG Sunday, episode numero uno. I'm your host, Azzy Huncho. And as always, this video was solely for the glory. Peace. All right, just here real quick. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry, it's 14 minutes. I was hoping to not have these videos. My goal is for this video to be in the 5 to 10 minute range. And a part of that is because I'm doing a weekly recap, which I thought was great because I want this to be communal and stuff like that. But also, I decided not to share weekly recaps moving forward. So every other SDG, this is going to be the only SDG Sunday with the weekly recap, unless it relates to the topic of glory, which I'll get into what that is in a second. But pretty much SDG Sundays, very simple, are going to be a glory moment, aka a God moment, a Jesus sighting, one of those moments where I had a moment of revelation where I saw the Lord. This is good because then now it's inspiring me. I have to be looking for how the Lord's moving in my life day to day so I could share with you guys. So my glory moment, and then my topic of glory, which would be the devotional type thing that you guys heard me speak about earlier. And then an ending question, because I want this to be more communal and relational. I want to ask you guys questions and invite you to share maybe in the comments. But even if it doesn't, if it blesses you and it's just something you journal about and it benefits you, that's all I'm really hoping for. So those three things: glory moment, topic of glory, and an ending question. And an invitation to ask questions. SDG Sundays don't have to be only led by me. I want them to be led by you. I want to answer some of your questions and talk about some of your guys' stuff. So thanks so much for watching. I'm Azzy Huncho. This video was solely for the glory. And next video will not have nearly as much nonsense about me talking about my day-to-day life because y'all don't care.